I'm going to show how I fill the stove now. I have a weighing machine here, and I have the fuel can here. It has holes around the top and one or two other ones. I've tried holes in various places and I've blocked a lot of them in with fire clay, so that it's really the top ones that matter. If I've now put the fuel can on the weighing machine. I double click on the weighing machine, which sets it to 0 even when it has the fuel can on top. I put some dense material. That weighs about 62 grams, 62 grams, and it is from the heat log, the broken up heat log. I'll add some pellets just to show that they also go in at this stage. Now, why do I put the dense material at the bottom? The reason is that it's much harder to light it. Because it's quite heavy, it needs quite a lot of heat to get it hot enough to burn. So then if I put material on top that will burn easily, it will set that dense material burning at the bottom when the fire burns down to that point. The proportion of heavy material, dense material in the bottom and what you put on top, you can vary. If it's nearly all the dense material, then it will burn a long time. If it's you can use all the light material. These are wood chips, and I put these on top, and if I fill it, quite a long way, but you will see that I do not block the holes around the top. Those holes around the top let the air in to burn the smoke, so it won't burn very cleanly if I mess that up. Now here I have two bricks. They are separated a bit. I can put the fuel can on top. I have another can here, which is a paint can. It has 3 screws on top. I can use those screws to support a pot for boiling. It also has a handle for convenience, and because it can get quite hot. The air comes up inside this when I put it over, so that there is air coming up inside directly into the fuel, and also air coming up between the fuel can in the middle and the bigger can on top. Now you will see that there's a little jam jar there. It's a half-height jam jar, and it's got wood chips in it. These wood chips have been soaked in that blue material, that blue liquid there, which is industrial alcohol, methylated spirits, various names for it. Now if I put some of those the wood chips, soaked ones, into the fire, I can light it. You will see that I've put a few of these in the lid just to show you that I don't need very many at all. If I take these and I put them into the fire and perhaps spread them around a little so that they're not all in the middle, then I can light it. And it lights with a very faint flame, but in fact it's a strong flame, and that's really all there is to it. Eventually the fire will spread into the wood and spread down, and we can cook on it. This is less than a minute later. You will see that some of the wood on top is going black. You'll see the flames are going yellow. The yellow is because the wood is burning, and the wood puts out smoke which is burning, and in the smoke there are little tiny bits of soot. So it's actually burning soot that makes it look yellow. And there is a problem with soot, because when you put something cold on it, and here I have a pan with some water in, I put it on top, and at the end you'll find that after a while, although it may start boiling eventually, there will be soot on the bottom of this pan that's going to be cooking. You could boil rice in it or something. Right, you can see now that the flames are leaping up. It is going well, but they're very yellow when we put a pan on. But there is no smoke because it burns away completely. But when we put a pan on, something cold, we may get some smoke because it cools what is burning there, and it will also leave soot on the bottom of the pan. So we'll put that back. Here we are. I don't see any smoke at the moment, but oh yes, sometimes there are bits of puffs of smoke round the side. This is sometimes nothing serious. It may be a little bit of moisture in the wood, and that comes out as steam. So if the smoke is white, yes, it may not be very nice, but if the smoke is almost white, it actually is going to be because there has been some moisture still in the wood. Here is another picture of it later on. You'll see the flames are now very high. They do get burned away completely, but there's no control. The only sort of things you can do are to make fewer or smaller holes in the bottom of the fuel can. This is just what you get, and it's the simplest possible stand also to stand the pots on. Nothing very clever, but it illustrates the principle, and it also illustrates the problems that you need some control to turn it up and down. And if you put a pot on, I'll put this back again, we may get smoke. It's just about to boil now, and there is smoke, puffs of smoke from time to time, sometimes quite more than less. There's some. It's just about to boil, but there are also, I don't know whether you can see them, sometimes flames coming round the bottom of the pot. This is actually wasted heat. A wider pot would gather more heat, so it would be more efficient. It is in fact starting to boil now. I'll take the lid off. Now we see the steam, and the steam hides the fact that there's also quite a bit of smoke appearing. But this can be improved in many, many ways, and I'll go through some of that in another video. Here you'll see that I sieved some more wood, and quite a lot of this was small stuff. This is what fell through the sieve, and I can't use. I'll just chuck this into my compost heap and it'll be part of the compost. There are a couple of things I forgot to show you early on. I didn't show how heavy the fuel was. I know that if I put in say 100 grams or 150 grams of fuel, I know pretty much how long it will burn on a particular stove and how much water it will boil. And I forgot to show you that. The other thing that I forgot to show you was how clean the bottom of the pot was before we started. There are two things that happen on the bottom of the pot. One is soot, which is nasty because it gets all over your hands. The other, and soot is the most common, it does wash off very easily. The other is what I call tar. That sticks to the bottom of the pan, and after you've washed the soot off you may find there is still some tar there. You can get rid of them with some hot water and a pan scrub. The tar comes off fairly easily. Some people say that if you put a little bit of washing up liquid on the bottom of the pan before you actually do the cooking, that it comes off more easily. But these are just things that you find with these very simple stoves. The main burning is now over. It is burning much more slowly. I don't know whether you can see, it's just simmering. If I take the pot off here, you'll see inside, perhaps, if I can get there, that it's full of charcoal, and you may see some bright areas in the charcoal. It's still burning from the bottom. You may not see it, but I can see a very slight flame from the charcoal. Now I've taken the outer can off, and I've put some wire made from an old coat hanger around the inner can. It's still full of hot charcoal inside, and I can pick it up using the wire. I can tip the charcoal out like that. I'd squirt some water over it if I want to cool it down a bit. This was my grate at the bottom, which controls how fast it will burn or slowly. And I can cover that over, and I should put something on top of that. So that is covering the charcoal. It will get very hot, so I'll put that on top, partly to remind me, partly to stop the wind from blowing it away. And the charcoal that I've made, Felix and Isaiah will know that that is very good fertilizer. It conditions the soil, and the ash in it is very rich in nutrients. So if you're growing something in a plant pot, it's ideal to mix some of that charcoal in with in the soil that you put when you're growing a plant in a pot. Here are 3 little balls of paper, squashed up bits of paper handkerchief. The one on the right I've soaked in kerosene. I've put a pencil there to show the size. I'm going to soak them in different starter fluids. So here we go. Here is the kerosene that I'm going to light and see how it goes. You see it is a smoky and very yellow flame. But this is what is sold for starting campfires and so on here. I don't know if kerosene is as bad as that where you are. And I'm surprised it's as smoky as that. Here is the next one. This one I've been soaking it in what they call white spirit. It's also called paint thinners for making normal oil-based paint, not emulsion paint, run thinner. So now let me set it alight and see how that burns. It's also producing smoke and flame. Not that different really from the first one. Finally, here is the one that we used with the industrial alcohol, methylated spirits. Let's see how that burns. Now it is burning. You can hardly see the flame. And there is absolutely no smoke. So if you want to get, it's quite difficult to get a fire started with no smoke if you use kerosene, but you can. And instead of using wood, like I said, to soak, you can make little balls of paper, tissue paper, like these are. You need about 4 of these little balls probably, and they don't have to be that thoroughly smoked, that thoroughly soaked. Just a bit of starter liquid, because it soaks it up very quickly, and away you go. You can use that for starting a stove.